So change curves and energy zones. Organizations, whether good or bad, are going to be optimized for hitting a certain level of performance. This is because of three main factors: the systems they have in place, their culture, and structure. And most of the time, there's a need identified or desire to hit a new level of performance. Change efforts often are stymied right from the start because they take this approach of identifying, here's a point that we're at, and we want to get to this new point up here. So we want to identify what are the series of steps or actions we can take to close that gap. The problem is, even if we have a good understanding that systems, culture, and structure are the main determining factors of an organization's performance, they're too complex and don't work in such a linear way. It's impossible to say, here's where we are, and if we make a change to the system or the culture or the structure of the organization, we can know that it's going to go up or it's going to go down. Instead, with that knowledge of these main determining factors, it's a constant revision to making changes based off where we are, and then what changes are good, which ones do we see are making improvements, which ones are bringing the organization back, and making changes constantly based off that. So it's a very iterative exercise, and you can't know the change you're going to make and what impact it's going to have in the future. Where leaders really come into play is that as you make these changes and you're slowly sort of iterating through a change, addressing constantly where you are now, the system's going to want to sort of pull back to the lower energy state because it's very familiar to how things were. And moving away from here takes a lot of energy. So this is like the natural resting spot. The organization's at rest, very energy efficient. It doesn't take much energy. So leaders can help by blocking those tendencies from occurring, for blocking their teams, protecting them from all those sort of immune response of the organization. It could also act using its power to provide support and to provide signaling and guidance, so constantly enabling people to go up even further. A couple other things that really help the people who are making this change are the factors of alignment, autonomy, and say mastery. Because you need the alignment to know which way we're going, and alignment also empowers you to have more autonomy so that teams can actually take action themselves and not rely on sort of formal structure to guide their every decision. And mastery is going to be able to help them actually execute on those changes so they have the skills to make the changes necessary as they go through. Now, coaching support can come in and help them sort of through these iterative processes of change, guidance to help them see and understand where they are in context of the bigger system, and understand based off their desired market outcomes, sort of what this future point might look like. We're not going to define it in terms of strict targets, because that's going to bring out maybe the worst in people, and as they try to game targets to sort of meet maybe personal goals and KPIs, but having a sense of what are the issues that the current systems and the structure and the culture are contributing now that make the system what it is, and instead, how would things potentially look and how would the organization operate? So this higher level is a bit more shaped, it's a bit more defined, and people can imagine it more clearly. Thank you very much.